Mike. We're back for season 9 of Haven's podcast, Measure Twice, Cut Once.
Hey, Jennifer Lee. Great to be back. What an exciting season looking at building trends, including housing forms, building products, and everything in between.
Yeah, and season 8 was also amazing, where we talked about award-winning projects. There's nothing better from learning from those who have gone before us.
Absolutely, and it's great to see some of our friends and past guests who are winning all those awards. But right now, we're going to talk about some of the planning for the next round of awards that will be coming in the coming year. So this is some of the stuff we talk about that leads up to the awards season, and it's probably as good a time as any to get into it. What do you say?
Yeah, it sounds great. We get to learn what takes us to get to the awards one day.
Absolutely. And this is going to be a really, really exciting one because we've spent a lot of time talking about design trends, construction, and different methodologies. But when it comes to building a home, there's a lot more than just the frame and the envelope. There's, of course, electrical, there's plumbing, there's lighting, there's heating, there's cooling, and there's a lot of different elements that make up a modern home. Today, we're going to have a really, really cool discussion specifically about the plumbing. And we've got Nishin here, marketing manager at Save More Plumbing and Lighting. So welcome to Measure Twice, Cut Once.
Thank you so much, Mike and Jen.
So plumbing is one of those areas of construction I know even less about than every other area of home construction.
But very important.
Well, and you think about it, it's the one part of your house we all interface with typically multiple times per day.
Yep.
And my guess is how it's planned, how it's designed has a great deal of bearing on how well your house functions. So I'd love it before we get in all this exciting stuff about how to get your plumbing planned out if we learn a little bit more about you.
And I just want to mention before we get started that she's not only the manager of Save More Plumbing and Lighting, she also has a construction company too. We've bonded before. She's been on our job sites because she's also a daughter in the construction industry and a marketing manager. We've all been there.
Yeah. No,
I haven't.
Jen was gracious enough to give me a tour of one of her properties projects. And so we are a family-owned business with Save More Plumbing and Lighting. My dad and my uncle started this company in 1989. And so I guess we're the second generation. I basically live and breathe construction, plumbing and lighting. Been doing it since birth. And like Jen said, construction was just a natural transition from plumbing and lighting because plumbing is really the guts of your home at the end of the day, plumbing and lighting. So having that knowledge base starting out is really important.
And when you started out, I mean, obviously, we see this trend a lot. There are people who start out, we've had past guests who started out in family business, and then over time, they've slowly put their thumbprint on it. And what have you done to make it sort of uniquely yours as you've assumed the mantle of leadership in the company as well?
So with that comes my role with the displays. I think designing the showrooms to make them more functional for consumers, have everything sort of organized so that you're making those decisions much more easily. Back in the day, there were very few choices, and today there's so many choices, and I think consumers are a bit overwhelmed these days. So having everything sort of organized and made to look nice really helps.
How do you get through that? Because, every time I've gone, into that world, there's literally hundreds, if not thousands of choices.
Yep.
How do you narrow all those choices and so it's easy for a person like me or Jennifer going in to make the right decision for ourselves, right? Because there's prices, there's finishes, right? How do you scale that?
So you really have to start with how you're going to use the space, whether it's your forever home or you're just in it for a year or two. And what I like to tell our clients is just give us your wish list. What would you like and your budget? And we'll sort of figure it out so that you get a bit of both within your budget. You'll get the items that you really want, the wine, let's say, even though you can only go for beer.
And how do you deal with the Pinterest effect? because I find that a lot of people love all these images of fixtures on Pinterest, but they also don't realize that sometimes those fixtures, not only are they expensive, they don't actually work in the home. They may look nice, like a gold faucet, but people's hands are going to patina that, and it's not going to look like that in 4 months. Or if you have kids, certain things scratch more. Maybe it's not durable. Or if you have pets, like a pet bathroom, again, there's certain fixtures that may lend itself to lasting longer. How do you deal with that?
Well, that's what I love about our approach is we really like to educate the consumer. So you're going in with all the information that you need. You're not just going in blind. Of course, you have trusted professionals like ourselves to guide you, but we want you to know why. Like exactly what you said, we're going to tell you, look, this faucet will patina. If you're okay with that, then move forward. If not, we got to choose something else. So informing the client, telling them the ins and outs of what you're doing, why you're doing it is really necessary.
Would you recommend for people who are less familiar with the world of fixtures and plumbing, should someone like me be working with a designer when I come in?
I think working with a designer really helps. We work with clients who don't come in with a designer, or sometimes even a contractor if they're just renovating a small project. But having someone on your side that knows the ins and outs is very helpful, especially on the aesthetic sides of things. We we like to think we can take that Pinterest board and bring it to life, but at the end of the day, we may not have the color theory down or have the right vision at the end of the day. So I think having a designer in the picture really helps with that. But if not, we're here to try to help you walk through the process.
Or even just having the contractor come with you, because it's something that I
Yeah.
see all the time, especially when it comes to bathtubs. Everybody has an idea of the bathtub that they want, but they don't realize the space that they're putting that bathtub in. And so I've seen a lot of bathtubs go back if they don't have a contractor or an interior designer to be
gosh.
able to fit it properly or make
Really?
sure that tub looks right in that space.
Yeah.
Or that fixture fits in the holes in the sink or
Exactly.
whatever the issues may be.
Yeah. You know, for that, we try to even do site visits, especially for tubs. We need to confirm which hand your tub is. So if your faucet's on the left or your drain's on the left or on the right. So we'll confirm the measurement as well. So I haven't heard of that issue, but the tub looking right in the space, that is something that someone like an interior designer will help with because sometimes they'll render it and then you can get an actual picture of what your space will look like.
Perfect. So I've got a question for you.
Okay.
It's plumbing related, but it's been a little bit off the beaten path. We
Okay.
talk a lot on this show about how the people in this organization are pushing, and I don't mean this in a pun, but pushing the envelope on high performance housing.
Mm-hmm.
The idea of building science overtaking our current methodology is an exciting one.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk a little about how plumbing trends might support someone like me who's looking at building a high performance home, a net zero home, an energy efficiency home? How can making the right decisions when I'm in your location help me achieve my objectives as I'm trying to build the home of my dreams?
So with energy savings, reducing our consumption, plumbing has come a long way. We used to have toilets that would flush 13 liters of water per flush. We are down to now 4.8 liters, which is a great improvement. And there are some, now I'm going to switch metrics, but some toilets are down to like 1 gallon, which is approximately the same amount as 4.8 liters. And there are, regulations such as CalGreen, where they regulate the amount of water your appliances should be using. So, and faucets are another example of that. Now we have faucets that do 1.5 liters per minute, and they used to do about 8 liters per minute. So plumbing has definitely made a long way when it comes to water consumption, water conservation, and there are products that really limit the amount of water that you are using just by their design. So I think where the industry is right now, plumbing fixtures will help you accomplish those goals of going net zero or whatever milestone you're trying to achieve with your home. I think for our consumers these days, they're really looking at the durability aspect of sustainability as well. Will this last? Am I going to have to throw this in a landfill in the next 5 years, or is this going to be with my home for generations? So that's something that we're really trying to focus on bringing to our clients.
I have a question about that though, because even though, like you said, a lot of plumbing fixtures are changed and they're becoming a bit more eco-friendly, we're also getting more technology.
Yeah.
And like those toilets that I'm seeing everywhere, which like dry you, warm the seat, like do everything for you. You can program it. Even the light up mirrors are getting really fancy too. So you can different shades for your makeup. Are we adding more to the problem by using these products, which are cool? Because I was going to say your energy bill is probably going to go up if you're going to have more electricity in the bathroom.
Well, the way I think the construction industry is going, we are relying a bit more on electricity as a whole. But I don't know I don't think your smart toilet and your LED mirror are really going to pull too much of the energy. It's a standard plug at the end of the day. And the benefits you get with it are pretty awesome.
You get a better quality of life if
I
you have a
think so.
heated toilet seat, for sure.
I think, yep.
Absolutely. Well, I'm actually thinking about this in terms of savings, and the one thing we haven't talked about, and this is sort of the head end of all of this, is the tank, the hot water tank.
Yeah.
And now that we've gone to a technology where it's an on-demand technology, we can safely and comfortably say that it's a lot less money to run. It demands a lot less of the resources, which are scarce as they are in our houses. And it's what is part of a greater solution to achieving this methodology. There's a lot of people we work with who are on the island or in smaller off peripheries where they can't necessarily have conventional plumbing. Do you see compostable toilets or anything like that being sort of a viable solution for mainstream? Like, obviously, if I'm on Gambier Island, that works.
Yeah.
What about people in the city here where we're having infrastructure issues and stuff like that? Is that a solution to some of those problems?
You never know. It may be. There are companies I know out in the Okanagan that are creating recyclable shower water. So when you're showering, it's cleaning the water and recycling it. So we may see a future where we have composting toilets readily throughout the city. And it's not just something that you find on a remote island or on a mountain or something like that. So people are looking for ways to reduce their impact on the environment. And I think companies will start paying attention to that if they haven't already.
I had to wrap my head around that for a second when you said it, because I thought you meant compostable toilets, like they are made out of materials that they'll eventually compost. And I was like, how does that work?
Scientists have been trying for years to make a cardboard toilet. It's disposable.
They disintegrate with each use. No.
Well, it's interesting because actually one of our previous guests, Todd Best, has a toilet at his office, which is on a farm, and it's actually... It looks like a giant coffee filter inside, and it incinerates everything down to ash.
Incinerating, yeah.
So it's yet another way of not using a bunch of this, like you talk about a gallon of water. Well, how's that going to work in 10 or 15 years when our reservoir levels aren't as high? So
exactly.
Technically, then porta potties are good for the environment.
Rather have an incinerating toilet for sure.
Yeah, anyone who's ever been to a music festival can agree with you there. We do talk about health and safety quite a bit as well. And can you talk about some of the health and safety elements of plumbing that maybe didn't exist a few years ago? Because these, especially we're talking about aging in place, homes with children, things like that. These are really, really important considerations. And I'd love to hear a little bit more about those options.
Totally. Plumbing is a space where health is talked about a lot. So you've probably heard about cold plunge tubs. You should be in a sauna pretty much 4 times a week because it reduces all-cause mortality by a certain percentage. And when it comes to aging in place, now we're getting more products that help with that. So recently, a company out of Italy, they created a toilet that is sort of on it kind of goes up and down. It helps with the aging population who will get stuck on a toilet.
We know exactly what you're talking about because we went to CES this year in January
there you
and
go.
we saw a bunch of those smart. Remember the guy who owned the company? His business card said toilet tester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They look like I want one, and I'm.
Yeah.
I feel like they'd be easier to
But
get off the
again,
toilet.
these are things that we don't think about in our
No,
30s, 40s,
no.
or 50s, but
Yeah.
having to get up after we're done is part of the process, just as much
Exactly.
as using all the other plumbing.
And
So,
you don't want to have to call your son or
no,
call
exactly.
your wife.
Exactly.
You don't
Hey,
wanna
I'm
be
stuck
like-
on the toilet again.
Yeah, you don't want to be like that Life Alert commercial where
No.
it's like, I'm in
No,
the
no, no.
bathroom.
No, that's a different episode, folks.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
With health and safety, though,
Mm-hmm.
because, we had that thing that a lot of us don't like talking about, COVID.
Yeah.
Did that change a lot of the appliances, especially like maybe surfaces that are easier to clean or they have
Mm-hmm.
some type of microbial finish to them for better sanitation or,
Definitely.
yeah.
So these smart toilets that we're talking about, a lot of them will have that antimicrobial coating on them. And there are other surfaces like man-made stone that are made to be non-porous. So they're automatically antimicrobial that way. And that's been going on for a while now. So stainless steel is a great material for that. And I think COVID really helped people see that you should prioritize your health and you should be focusing on buying products that help you with that.
And you should wash your hands when you go to the bathroom.
1000%, yes.
Why are we still saying this in 2024?
We need to stop
But
using
that's
that.
why you have nice plumbing fixtures because then you want to wash your
Exactly.
hands.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I was at a client's home and they had the toilet on their main floor. And it had like this seat that looked like it was from Star Trek.
Yeah.
And it did all this stuff and sprayed and had chime sounds and everything else. But obviously at the highest level, yes, it's nice and convenient, but there's a hygiene argument for that as well. How can I do this maturely and seriously? Can you talk to us about toilet seats, please?
Of course.
The only reason I'm saying this is because, my sons who are 13 and 15 are going to watch this later. And
And be like, were you really talking about
Dad, play that episode
toilets?
again. But yeah, like touch technology, basically.
Okay. So you're talking about the remote
Yeah.
and touching those buttons.
Yeah.
Well, are you thinking about who's touching the flush?
Trying not to, but I mean, basically what I
Great conversation right now. I like it.
There's no way we're going to get through this conversation without me going
Like
off
Mike's
of,
being like a 10-year-old boy right now. He's like about to giggle every second.
this is always me. We just have a conversation that's relative. Look, so I guess what I'm trying to get at is with that, is there a hygienic argument versus using toilet paper? Basically, there's no nice way to put it, but
Oh my goodness.
should we be looking at that type of seat in our next house for anything other than just comfort reasons?
You don't need a Star Trek style seat to get a bidet. You can get a cold water bidet for less than $100.
Okay.
And they are way better than using toilet paper. It is much more hygienic. It's much more better for your health. I do not remember my life before a bidet. It will change your life.
So-
You will never feel more clean
Yeah.
ever again.
And it's more eco-friendly because you're not throwing the toilet paper out.
Exactly,
But
yeah.
I grew up with I grew up with a bidet. And I remember because my dad's a contractor, we had one in the master bathroom. And it was so interesting because everyone would make fun of us for having that, and like we would take all our friends up and like show them the bidet. Like it was like this like thing, and we would take it. They don't shoot that high now, but we would like grab the nozzles and we'd make the water like shoot to the ceiling, which my mom and dad hated because they had to fix the ceiling. But again, it changed your life. I really
Oh, yeah.
miss one. I wish I had one, and I just went to Europe and they're everywhere, and I was like, why don't we bring that technology more and more here instead of laugh at it? Everyone's like, it's weird. I was like, no, I love it.
Honestly, people have been using them for years and years and years in Asia. We need to get on that train. And it's readily available here. We have affordable products that you can add to your current toilet. You don't have to change your entire toilet. You don't have to buy a very expensive seat to achieve all of that. And I think that's one of the things that are a must have in your home for your bathrooms, on my list at least. And I mean, I have a few others, but a bidet is probably up there.
And it entertained your kids. That's why Mike doesn't have one, because they'd be shooting the ceiling with them too.
That's something we're gonna have to figure out, is how to keep the kids from spraying.
They don't shoot that high. You would probably know this. They don't shoot that high now. No.
I'm more worried about my dogs using it as a drinking fountain. But anyway, I do want to switch rooms because I can see where we're going with this. Back to the kitchen.
Love it.
When I was a kid, we had very basic taps available, and then there's all sorts of different styles, and now there's a lot more we can do with our kitchen sink. Can you talk a little about our kitchen? Taps in our kitchen, what we should be looking for, what's hot, what we should be thinking about as far as not only design trends, but performance trends as well.
Definitely. So speaking of my must-haves, in your kitchen, if you have a kettle and or a Brita, you can throw them away, and you should. Britas get pretty disgusting with the bacteria buildup.
Oh, I have one. Don't talk to me about that.
We'll talk about this
Not yours though,
after the
Jennifer.
podcast.
Yours is good.
But you need an instant water filter and instant hot water as well. You don't need to wait for a kettle anymore. You just turn on the faucet. It's instant hot water. It's filtered twice. So you don't need a Brita. So you've got the hot and the cold. That's something that I think everybody needs in their kitchen, and it's not talked about enough.
Well, the one thing that's not talked about is you should not drink hot water that comes out of your taps, because in a lot of cases, unless you have one of those tankless hot water heaters, it's been sitting in a soup of who knows what for how long.
Okay. I'm really
so no more
disgusted
Mr.
about
Instant Noodles for you. Sorry.
Well, this one is an instant hot water faucet, so it works a lot like your tankless water heaters. It's instant.
So besides having bidet, also had an instant hot water tap. This is what happens. You live with your parents and you get spoiled. And now I'm living just like a regular person. No bidet, no instant hot water. You're making me jealous now. Can you come over and outfit my apartment? Thank you.
Definitely.
So are there any other design trends in the kitchen that we should be aware of? Because ultimately, you guys are going to see them a lot sooner than we will. We see them when they're actually in. We see them in, like last season, we had all our award winners on. We see the end results of those conversations.
Exactly.
So the conversation you have today will be featured in one of the awards that we're going to have on our show in 3 years, probably. What does that look like? What should we expect to see in those pictures?
So workstation sinks in your kitchen. So those are sinks that come with a bunch of different accessories, cutting boards, colanders, serving trays, you name it. Those have been gaining popularity over the past few years, and now more so. So you're going to see them in a lot more kitchens because they're functional as well. You don't need to have your drying rack on one side of your sink and your cutting board somewhere else. Everything is together.
What I was going to say about those workstations is I think they're a great idea too, because when you're using a lot of the little different buckets and you're washing the different fruits and vegetables and cutting them, you're not getting all the stuff in the sink, and there's like little particles that can come down. And I know a lot of people have been, and it's been on commercials on TV too. They're like, stop putting stuff down the sink because everyone likes chop, and like there's like little bits and stuff, but over time that accumulates. It's not good for your piping. Mm-hmm. So do you feel that the workstations kind of solve that, because you get your little buckets and you can put them in the green bin after? And
that is a great use of them, because you're collecting all the waste. It's not all just going down your drain. You may have like a garbage disposal in your sink, which helps with that. But it's good to contain the mess for sure. And it helps a lot.
Do you think there's going to be any AI type of like carburetors or anything like that?
I recently saw something that helps people with septic properties, where whatever you dump down the drain, it'll filter out the food from the water. Oh. So we're already starting to see that kind of technology coming about, and maybe it can be AI powered, and you can tell Siri to sort your compost for you, but that'll be probably down the line.
Right now, I just get my kids to do it.
Yeah, exactly.
And they'll complain.
Oh, absolutely. You have to pay extra for silent feature with them.
Yeah.
Listen, Nishin, it's been so awesome having you on. I've learned so much. I mean, the biggest takeaway I think I'm taking from this is that, if we're building a certain methodology or style of house, all the components of the house collectively will help aid with our goals, including some of the plumbing options you've taken us through, like hot water tanks that don't require a tank, like on demand, hot water, filtered water, things like that. What's the biggest thing you'd want us to know when we're picking out our plumbing? Like when I walk in there to start picking out my plumbing when we build our place, what's the most important thing for me to know that you'd like me to know?
So when it comes to plumbing, it's kind of like fashion when it comes to the trends. Whatever was fashionable will come back. So I think you should focus less on what is trending right now and focus on functionality. How can my home work for me rather than the other way around? And your plumbing will help with that. Like if you make a lot of pasta, you might want to get a pot filler. If you drink a lot of tea, you might want to get an instant hot water filter. So think about how you use your home, what you do on a day-to-day basis, and we can help you plan around that.
That's a great tip. And you'd also tell them get a bidet and instant hot water.
Yep. Must-haves.
I want those things right now.
Come down to Save More Plumbing and Lighting.
Perfect.
Before we go, it wouldn't be a new season of Measure Twice, Cut Once if I didn't have the pleasure of announcing an opportunity for one of our listeners to win a beautiful Napoleon Prestige P500 stainless steel natural gas barbecue valued at $1,600, compliments of our fantastic podcast partners, FortisBC. All you have to do to win is go to havan.ca/measuretwicecutonce.
And for notes and links to everything mentioned on today's episode, including resources shared by Nishin, go to havan.ca/measuretwicecutonce. Thank you to Trail Appliances, FortisBC, BC Housing, Ramey Films, JPod Creations, and AI Technology and Design. It takes a team to build a home, and so does it to build this podcast. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me.